Hello friends, in this video we will be learning convolution of input signal applied with step function. That is, we will assume that step function is an impulse response of the system and we will see what is the effect on the input. Let us begin. So in this session we are going to see and we are going to emphasize on these two problems. That is, first problem, what happens when x of t gets convolved with u of t, and same thing we are going to see in discrete time system also. That is, what happens when input is x of n and gets convolved with u of n. So I'll start with second one, that is discrete time. So I'll start with the second one. We will see what happens when x of n gets convolved with u of n. So I'll be using a standard formula, so I can write it in the form of summation. K is equal to minus infinity to plus infinity. I can rewrite this as x of k u of n minus k. Is that right? Now one thing you should understand, that within this summation independent variable is k. So don't forget, k is an independent variable. An independent variable means it is a main variable. Now look at u of n minus k. So you know that a normal function u of k, if I'm talking about, we know that it is always 1 for k greater than or equal to 0, and it is always 0 when k less than 0. Am I right? Similarly, this time we have u of n minus k, which will be 1 if you see in this, what is the argument? Argument is k. So function is always equal to 1 when argument is greater than or equal to 0. Now argument is n minus k, so I'll write n minus k greater than or equal to 0, or I can say when k is less than or equal to n. If you solve this, you will get this, and equal to 0 when k greater than n. Now to tell you graphically, and you will get the more clarity rather, let me just draw u of n minus k. We know that in this function k is the main variable, so I can rewrite this as u of minus k plus n. To make k coefficient free, we take minus 1 out or common. What remains inside? K minus n. So let us try to plot this. So in first step we do time reversal, and in second step we are going to delay by n. So first of all we'll go for step number 1, where I'm doing a time reversal. I'm applying in fact a time reversal property on u of k signal. So original u of k signal, if I tell you, I'm sure you remember, original u of k signal is always having an amplitude equal to 1 from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to infinity. It is always 1. And we know that when k less than 0, u of k value is always 0. Now if I apply time reversal, then u of minus k will look like this. So first, as I said, we have to go for a time reversal property. In that case, it will look like this. For 1, 2, 3, it will be always 0. For 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, these are values of k for which u of minus k will be always 1. So first property I have applied. Okay, so time reversal is done. What is left? This delaying by n. So we know that whenever we want to perform a subtraction with n, we do exactly reverse, that is addition. Therefore, what will happen? When I apply second step, I'm going to apply delay by n. In that case, now you can imagine the sample which is present at 0 gets added with n. We don't know what is the value of n, but hypothetically I assume that n is positive, that is greater than 0. So probably I'll be getting something like this. So up to n, This is from minus infinity to 0, it was 1. Now it will be from minus infinity to n, it will be 1. Obviously, somewhere over here, we will have minus 1, then 0, then 1, and so on up to n. Is that right? So this is how our u of n minus k signal looks like. So the signal which I have drawn over here is u of n minus k. Is that right? So this is something that we have already practiced well when we studied discrete time signals. So I'll get back to the same function. Don't forget what we were up to. We were about to perform this, that is x of n convolved with u of n. So we require u of n minus k signal. Okay, so I'll again show you how u of n minus k signal looks like. So right from minus infinity, minus 1, 0 up to n, this is always 1. So all the amplitudes in between are 1, but of course n onwards, that is n plus 1 onwards up to infinity, it will have no signal present. This is your k scale, right? So this is how your u of n minus k signal looks like. So when I say I want to convolve my x of n with u of n, then by our standard formula, I can write summation k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity x of k u of n minus k. Is that right? So now I have already drawn u of n minus k signal over here. As you can see that whenever k is ranging from minus infinity up to n, this u of n minus k value is equal to 1. And of course n onwards it is always 0. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to divide this summation into two parts. So in first part I'll take summation from k equal to minus infinity to n x of k u of n minus k plus next summation. Naturally after n I can write from n plus 1 up to positive infinity, because otherwise I had to actually cover from minus infinity to plus infinity. So I'm just doing it in this way, x of k dot u of n minus k. So we know that from n plus 1 to infinity, value of u of n minus k is always 0. From graphically also it is clear, and mathematically also I have shown you in the previous slide. You can see over here u of n minus k is always 0 when k greater than n. Is that right? And u of n minus k is always 1 for k less than or equal to n. So when k is ranging from minus infinity to n, you can check graphically u of n minus k value is always 1. It means we need not to mention in fact u of n minus k. I can write u of n minus k value equal to 1 here. Ultimately, in the second summation, since one of the value equal to 0, this summation will result into 0. Therefore, now I can write my x of n when I convolve with u of n, what I get? Summation k equal to minus infinity to n x of k. And since u of n minus k value is equal to 1, I'm not going to write it. Now this is a very important result that we have come across. The reason I'm saying this is very important result, because I can relate this for your continuous time signal also. That is, in continuous time signal, so I'll write it in continuous time signal. So this result was applicable only for discrete time signal. So this was for discrete time signal. Now for continuous time signal, we know that instead of x of n, we say x of t. Convolve with u of n is expressed as u of t equal to. We know that whenever we do integration in continuous time signal, I said it multiple times, integration is not possible in discrete time convolution, or in fact in discrete time signal. So integration in continuous time domain, in discrete it becomes summation. Vice versa is also true. In discrete time signal, if I'm saying it is summation, in continuous time signal it can be interpreted as an integration. So I'll say integration instead of summation. k is a dummy variable, so I'll take tau as dummy variable here, ranging from minus infinity to t. Now we have x of k here, I'll write x of tau theta. So in fact, this is also a very important result that you see over here. So now we are coming to a very important conclusion. You know very well your x of n is an input. Similarly, in case of continuous time signal, you have x of t as input, right? So I can interpret my u of n as an impulse response, that is h of n, and in continuous time domain I can express u of t as h of t in general. So what I can conclude is, in discrete time signal, whenever you convolve your input with u of n, that is step input, then your discrete time system acts as a summer or a system which does summation. Whereas in continuous time signal, whenever you convolve your input with u of t signal or u of t function, then it acts as a integrator system. We know that this is a standard integrator function. So this is a standard integrator system. So conclusion that I have written for discrete time system, whenever input x of n, so assume your input as x of n, this is x, okay, gets convolved with u of n, system acts as a summer. That is for discrete time system. Similarly, for continuous time system, whenever your input gets convolved with u of t, then the system is acting as a standard integrator system. So this is for a continuous time system. So let me assume some system having, let's say, input as del of t, impulse response h of t equal to u of t, and output y of t is something that I need to remember. So we know that whenever input is applied to some LTI system having impulse response h of t, then output is x of t gets convolved with h of t. Similarly, here output I can say it is del of t convolved with u of t. So we have already learned whenever input gets convolved with u of t function, that is step input function, then it acts as integrator. So I can say that this system will act as an integrator for input, that is integration from minus infinity to t del of tau d tau, and we know that integration of delta signal is step function. Is that right? Or I can just see it in another way. Whenever del of t gets convolved with u of t, this is equivalent to u of t convolved with del of t. It is one and the same thing, right? So whenever any input gets convolved with delta function, it remains same. So of course output is u of t only. Similarly, again the same system I'm taking over here. So same LTI system with impulse response equal to u of t. So I'm having h of t equal to u of t only. This time I'm applying input as u of t itself, and I'm now interested to see what is output. We know that whenever impulse response is u of t, so we know that impulse response is u of t, it will act as an integrator for input. So output will be integration from minus infinity to t u of tau d tau, and we know that integration of unit step function results into ramp function. So this is also very important result to remember, that is u of t convolved with u of t always results in r of t. It's a very important result. You should remember this. This is also very important result. Whenever delta function gets convolved with u of t, result is u of t itself, because we know that any input convolved with del function remains same. Is that right? So this is how we have seen that whenever impulse response is unit step function, it takes integration of the input and it gives you output. That is, system itself acts as a standard integrator which integrates input from minus infinity to t. Similarly, we'll see in case of discrete time signals also. So we have already seen in case of discrete signal, when x of n gets convolved with u of n, it acts as a summer. That is, it gives you summation k equal to minus infinity to n x of k. Is that right? In that case, we have to see what if del of n gets convolved with u of n. Then we know that any function which is convolved with impulse function remains same. So it is of course u of n only. Is that right? So now we will see what happens when u of n convolve with u of n. So now we are interested to see what is the result. We have already seen when u of t gets convolved with u of t, it results in r of t. In similar way, we are going to see whether u of n convolved with u of n results into r of n or it is something else. And result is very important. This is a question mark for us. We have to solve this u of n convolved with u of n. So by standard formula, I can rewrite this. So I'll treat this as x of n and I'll treat this as h of n, and I'm sure you remember the convolution formula. Summation k equal to minus infinity to plus infinity u of k u of n minus k. Is that right? So I'm sure you remember how u of k signal looks like. So this is u of k signal. For -1, -2, it is always 0. And when k is from 0 to infinity, u of k is always 1. So this is how u of k signal looks like. U of n minus k signal also we have already drawn, since there is a multiplication. Okay, so I'm just looking after our u of n minus k signal also. So we have already drawn this u of n minus k, so I'll not discuss how u of n minus k is drawn. So I'll directly draw u of n minus k. So it is the signal present from minus infinity, then at 0 also, let's say at 1 also, up to n. Is that right? So tell me, whenever these two signal get multiplied, then what is going to happen? Okay, so we know that from minus infinity to -1, u of k is always 0, and from minus infinity to -1, the signal is 1. Of course, multiplication will result into 0. If you want to see a common area, this common area will be from 0 to n only. So this would be a common area. Let's say somewhere over here we have n, and this is 0 to n. So if you see only within the common area, multiplication will result into non-zero value. Otherwise, multiplication will be always 0. I hope you got my point. So what I'm trying to do is u of n convolution with u of n. I'll rewrite the above function k equal to minus infinity to -1 u of k u of n minus k plus n equal to 0 or k equal to 0 to n u of k u of n minus k. Is that right? Now, if you see this range, that is k equal to minus infinity to -1, just observe your u of k. If you see u of k signal, this is the u of k signal I'm talking about. From minus infinity to -1, can I say this signal is always 0? Of course, yes. What is the status of u of n minus k? If you see u of n minus k within the interval where k is ranging from minus infinity to minus 1, it is always 1. But then 0 into 1 will result into 0. In effect, this whole summation will become 0. What about next? See, from 0 to n I'm talking about. From 0 to n, see the status of u of k. Status of u of k from 0 to n, okay, somewhere here I have assumed n, it is always 1. And what is the status of u of n minus k? If you see from 0 to n, it is always having value as 1. Meaning that this multiplication will result into unity. Is that right? Please don't forget that this is under the assumption that value of n is greater than or equal to 0. So this is possible only if n is greater than or equal to 0. Only if your n is positive, okay? Only if your n is positive or 0 value, then only there will be some common factor between these two signals and it will give you unity value. Otherwise, it will result into 0. So the discussion that we are having over here, it is valid only when your n is greater than or equal to 0. So I'll rewrite this. U of n involved with u of n. So if you remember, only one summation was left, that is k equal to 0 to n. We have only 1 because u of k value is also 1 and value of u of n minus k is always 1. But this is valid only when n is greater than or equal to 0. So now I can rewrite this as, by standard formula, I'll write this as n plus 1 when n is greater than or equal to 0. Now the question is, how come this is n plus 1? Suppose we have some summation, let's say k equal to 0 to 2, we are having 1. Now what does that mean? K is a scale, okay? At 0, it is having an amplitude equal to 1. At k equal to 1 also, it is having an amplitude equal to 1. At k equal to 2 also, it is having an amplitude equal to 1. So when k is ranging from 0 to 2, for every interval of k, it is having an amplitude equal to 1. Now what we need to do with this, we have to do summation of all these ones. So if you do the summation of all these ones, it will result into 3. So what if I do it another way, that is when k is ranging from 0 to 3, 1, then this will result into 4. That is, it is the signal having again k as x-axis. At 0 it is 1, at 1 it is having an amplitude 1, at 2 also it is having an amplitude equal to 1, at 3 also it is having an amplitude equal to 1. And now if you do a summation of all these amplitudes, it will result into 4. So you just observe the upper limit. If upper limit is 2, answer is 3. If upper limit is 3, answer is 4. What if the upper limit is n? Answer will be n plus 1. So this is how, whenever summation of k equal to 0 to n, and in the summation if we have only 1, that is unity, answer is n plus 1. That is upper limit plus 1 is the answer. Because how many ones are there? You just ask it yourself. Okay. After 0, there are n number of ones, and at 0 also there is one more 1, and therefore it is n plus 1 as final result. So let me write the final conclusion, that is u of n whenever gets convolved with u of n, answer is n plus 1, where I assume that n greater than or equal to 0. Or in one word I can rewrite this as, it is n plus 1 dot u of n. And how can I write this? Because we know that value of u of n is always 1 for n greater than or equal to 0. So whenever n is greater than or equal to 0, value of u of n will automatically become 1 and it will remain as n plus 1 only. And of course it is 0 when n is less than 0. So u of n convolution with u of n is n plus 1 is valid only when n is greater than or equal to 0, and therefore we need to write this whole as n plus 1 into u of n. In fact, now you can just open this bracket and you can rewrite this as n into u of n plus u of n. This is u of n convolved into u of n result. When u of t gets convolved with u of t, it is nothing but r of t. And you know that r of t is also called as t dot u of t. And whenever we have u of n convolve with u of n, it is not simply r of n, okay? It was n into u of n plus u of n. And of course we know that n into u of n is r of n itself plus u of n. So please remember this as final result. Whenever u of n convolve with u of n, result is r of n plus u of n, and u of t convolve with u of t, it is r of t. So with this, now we have understood how to convolve the given input signal with step function. Okay. So remember very important results. In continuous time signal, if the input is delta function and if you convolve it with u of t, okay, so convolving with u of t is nothing but integrating from minus infinity to t, then what you get? You get u of t. If further you convolve this u of t with another u of t, you know that convolving any input with u of t is as good as passing through the standard integrator system, that is integrating u of t from minus infinity to t, it will result into r of t. Whereas in discrete time system, what we have seen, if we have del of n function and if you try to convolve with u of n, so convolving any input with u of n in discrete time system is as good as having summation from minus infinity to n. In that case, what you get? U of n. And further this u of n, again you try to convolve with another u of n. That is, again if you try to have a summation from minus infinity to n, then you don't get r of n, you get r of n plus u of n. So this is the whole conclusion of a complete session.